Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Dennis. Today we're just going to do a quick review of the Corsair Graphite Series 230T case. Alright, so it's a pretty good case. I've used it before in the past. I like it. Here we go. Okay, so the case we're going to review today is the Graphite Series 230T from Corsair. So having a first look at it, you can see how you can put 3 optical drives, or you can put an optical drive and whatever other peripheral you want to put in there. You've got your power, your reset, your mic, headphone, and 2 USB 3.0 ports. Okay, of course the side is where your cable management is going to go. It's solid. And the difference in this case than some other cases is it slides forward instead of sliding back. It slides back to go back on. So we'll move over to the other side here. Okay, so looking at the other side, you've got a little bit of a window here. And of course, it only has one little catch here. So you just unscrew that. It's already loose, which is nice. And it's not an adaptive. It comes right out. So you just set it aside. And like I said, you're going to pull it forward. And it just comes off. There we go. So it's a nice solid panel. And just to show you the inside, in case you're interested. Okay, moving on to the inside of the case. We have 7 PCIe slots. So you can put your graphics cards, wireless adapters, whatever you might want to choose. You've got a nice big cutout. Okay, right here. You got an opening here so that you can bring up your 8-pin power cable. And of course you've got no rubber grommets on your openings here. You have a standoff in the middle. Now, Corsair does it with a lot of their cases. It's not a true standoff. It's basically meant to set your motherboard on the case. That way, if you have any issues, you can just take it back out. But it allows you to set it in place and just make sure you got your standoffs all in the right place. As you can see, they already come installed for an ATX motherboard. And you can just check them to make sure they're tight. And if not, you can just move them around. You have room for 3 optical bays. So I usually use the top one, if I use any at all. But you've got room for any other adapter you might want to add. Going on to the inside of the case, a little bit further. Okay, so the inside of your case, you've got room for 4 SSDs in here. Alright. And of course you've got your box. All your stuff in here. You just lift this out and you can just pull it forward. And I'll show you what's in there after. It also comes, of course, with your instructions on everything about the case. Everything you're going to need to know. We'll go through that as well. Of course, you've got all your cables. Okay, USB 3.0. Your, your power, reset, all that kind of good stuff. For all your LED connectors. You've got a 120 millimeter rear exhaust fan. And in the front, there's going to be 2 120 millimeter LED red LED lights and in the front there, and they're 120 millimeter intake fans. Okay, just having a look at the top of the case here. You have room for installing more fans on the top, either 120 or 140, so you can get 2 in there. And let's just move on to the back here again. Okay, so you got your rear I/O shield that's going to go in here. Okay, that's where your fan is. There's no real room built in for water cooling on this case, okay? But you have your power supply that's going to go on the bottom. You got your fan, or filter rather. Okay, just slides out, goes right back in. Goes in pretty easy, which is something I do like, because they're not all that easy. And of course on the bottom of the case, you've got another place here where you can mount another fan if you wanted to, either 120 or 140 millimeter. And like I showed you, the cutout for your power supply for your filter. The legs in the case are pretty sturdy. They're just flush, well not flush, but they come out just a little bit. So it's pretty good. They're rubberized. Okay, so we move to the other side. It's a solid panel. And again, it just holds in place by 1 screw. Just take that out here for a second. And again, it goes forward. And it just comes out. Nice side panels, it's sturdy, no problem. The cable management, I have worked with this case in the past, and even though it's only, seems like it's only got a finger's width, there is room for cable management. There's not a lot of tie downs, but there are some. Okay, there's a few here. And I just, when I've worked in this case before, I just never did a video on it. I found that the cable management actually worked really, really well. So here on the side, you get your connectors. There are 3-pin connectors for your case fans. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could connect that together with a a splitter and connect them both to the motherboard if you chose. Might clean it up a bit for you. So that's pretty much it on the side. There's not really a whole lot to look on. So we're going to move on again here. So I do like the look at the front of the case. And again, these pop out for your optical bays, but you have room for 3 5.25-inch drives for whatever you might want to put in there. CD, I don't know, some kind of NZXT control if you're running something that would use it. All right, it's nice and clean. Okay, so the top of the case does come off, but it's kind of riveted on the sides. So you've got 3 rivets, actually 4. So I don't think it's actually intended to come off. And you really don't need to, because you can get access to it from everywhere. Now, one of the things I always check for when I have a case is making sure these cables here aren't connected to this. But in this case, since it doesn't come off, it's not really going to matter. All right, let's go back to the front of the case here. Okay, so a couple more things I'll just mention about this case. It's a pretty simplistic case. You can usually get it on sale for like around 80 bucks. So it's actually not too bad, really. So just to give you some specs on the case, the length of the case is 550 millimeter by 210 by 440 millimeters high, or 21.7 inches long by 8.3 inches wide and 17.3 inches high. Sorry, I had to convert that real quick, and not my best forte converting things back and forth real quick. However, moving on, your side panels are steel, okay, and plastic. Now, the motherboard that will fit inside this case is an ATX, micro ATX, or a mini ITX. So it gives you a bit of variety. And of course, it'll take an ATX power supply. Of course, one of the other nice things to know about the case is what kind of power or graphics card you can put in here. So the maximum size graphics card you can put in here, if you put it in the top slots, is 430 millimeter, or in the lower slots, 320 millimeters. You can have a maximum CPU cooler height of 160 millimeters. All right, just some interesting info to pass on. Now, I'm getting all that from inside the pamphlet that comes with your case. All right, just includes all that nice little tidbits of information. And since I've got it, I'll pass that all on to you. So what do you get inside the little box here? Well, you got your cable ties, and you got your screws for if you want to do water cooling. And you got all your other screws, like your fan screws and rubber fan mounts and motherboard screws and optical disk drive screws, all that good stuff. So it's all here. It all comes inside that little brown case. Interesting fact is, it's a 230T case, but it says 200R on the box. Let's hope we got all the right stuff. If not, let's hope they're interchangeable. Or, at the very least, let's hope that the extras that I kept from the previous case, that I still have some parts laying around, which I'm sure I do. Now, something else to keep in mind, and really the only place for it would be on the top. I suppose maybe you could put it on the bottom. I haven't tried that myself. But you have room for either a 120 or a 140, anywhere up to a 240, 280, 280 millimeter radiators. So it gives you a lot of sizes, so you could put your 120, 140 here, and your radiator would normally probably go up on the top here. Should be an easy fit, shouldn't really be any real problems. Okay, so something I mentioned earlier was the place for your hard drives. So I've looked, and maybe I'm missing it, but there's nothing anywhere that says that you can take it out. I mean, it's riveted on, so I suppose you could take it out, but I don't think it'd be an easy thing to do. But having built in the case, like I said before, it's not going to get in your way. Even if you're not using a 3.5-inch drive, and you're just going to use SSDs, it should work fine. You shouldn't have any difficulties. One last little tidbit of information, of course, is when you put your power supply in, you want to mount it facing down. Okay, so toward the bottom of the case. Align your holes in the back and just put it in with your power supply screws. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all there is to this case, really. Alright everybody, that's my review of the Corsair Graphite Series 230T. Great case. I've used it before. I highly recommend it. If I start giving actual awards or something on my channel, well then that would get pretty high up there. It's a budget case, but it's kind of a mid-tier. It's not really built for a lot of water cooling. I mean, the self-contained water coolers, like I said, you can go up to 280 millimeter. So there you go. So if you like this video, hit that like. If you don't, well, hit the dislike. Leave me a comment either way. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. If you got any suggestions for videos in the future, please pass them on. And please, I'm getting some subscribers to my channel now, which I really appreciate, and it helps me to move forward. Thank you for watching.